the Jesup Hall of Fame. Who are legends? Here you go. Think about this. So is Alan Wright a legend?
He is, because of the way he revived Farmers Day when it was not doing too well, and all the work he put into that, and how we've had some fantastic things happen over the years that he was mainly responsible for. And also the fact that he has driven that school bus 70-some years. He's 90 years old and still able to drive a school bus. He's very healthy, passes his physicals, has eyesight, everything, and is able to keep driving that school bus. And the energy he puts into all his projects, I think when in the future years, when they ask or talk about Farmers Day and what it has become, his name will be mentioned as someone who. So to me, that's kind of a legendary kind of.
It is.
Bigger than life, done an awful lot, so.
It would be neat to have like a Jesup Hall of Fame type of deal. You don't need a lot. Like you could put a wall in like a city hall or in the hall of the city hall as you go in there, or in the basement.
Yeah.
Alan would fit there. Okay, what about Dave Sabers?
Well, Dave Sabers is looking at 60 years at Spawn and Rose, and the way I've heard the story is that the Jesup Lumberyard was not faring very well when he became the manager, and that he took it up to where it was the highest grossing lumberyard outside of Dubuque that they had. He has been very generous with his time and talent, and he and I are the same age, and so our kids were the same age, and so our kids were in Little League together and basketball together and doing all those other things at school together, and he and his wife were always involved. They didn't just send their kid off. They were there too, and they were helpers, coaching or working the concession stand or whatever needed to be done. They were real big on that, and so if you talk about someone who has had a huge impact on this area as far as housing and the general growth of the city over the years, I think you'd have to mention his name. And so I think he's a legend in his field, yeah.
Very good. So there's a Hall of Famer. So there's two Hall of Famers. Yeah. Here's a challenge for you. And this may sound sexist as I ask you. Who would be a female legend in our community? We didn't talk about this before the show.
Yeah, and so I sit here being nice and quiet, and you get me in trouble with all the women. Well, there was, and her name escapes me, but there was a lady who was mayor of Jesup many, many years ago when that was very unusual. And so, I think you would have to put her in as a trendsetter or as a legendary performer in Jesup history. Boy, I don't know. See, nothing's popping out at me like that, because the women of the last 100 years, we'll say in Jesup, for a huge majority of those years, they might be involved with lots of things, but then they took huge chunks of time out to raise children. So they didn't, it wasn't something that, we don't have a woman that worked at the same job for 60 years or volunteered for an organization like Farmers Day for 50, 60 years. It just wasn't possible. And so I'm not sure. I have personal, there's a lady named Marion Stoddard who legendary in the Methodist Church.
Yes.
She did a lot. You could spend 20 minutes talking about all the things she did over many, many years for that church, but it wasn't community-wide for the most part. And so Marshall McLaughlin was city clerk for many, many years, and went through a lot of different mayors and council people, and she kept the ship on course.
She ran the city.
Yeah, she knew, and I have heard her tell them sometimes when I was at different meetings, no, you can't do that, or you can do that, but you must do it this way, because she knew the rules, she knew the laws, and these volunteer council people or mayors did not. They go full speed ahead. Well, you can't do that and she knew. And so Marshall McLaughlin right now is the one that pops in my mind more than anybody else. And I'll probably be sorry tomorrow when I say, oh, geez, I forgot about this and this. But right now, I can see her as being someone who did a fantastic job for the
Hall of
city
Famer.
for many years. Yeah.
That's a really good one. All right, this is Steve Brown Arts Center. We'll be back with the start of the show in just 1 second. From the Heartland Business and Events Center, nestled in vibrant downtown Jesup, Iowa, welcome to the cradle of the Bohemian Resistance.
Oh, we're at the cradle now.
We are the underground, the voice of rebellion and wit, alongside producer Blake Tempus down there and warrior poet Dale Rueber. I stand as the Marquis of Chatham, Jim Gillespie, and this is the news for December 8th, 2025.
Well, let's go back a week, okay?
All right.
You caught me off guard with those movie quotes.
Yes.
And my family knows the quote. You're a low-down Yankee liar. What movie is that from?
Oh, is that from Gone with the Wind?
No, it's from Shane. The climactic scene towards the end, and that's how the gunfight gets started, because that's such an insult that you will risk your life. So I can't believe that didn't pop into my head last week when we talked. And then also last week we talked about sex wins again.
Yes.
And we had some people who lost careers or lost prestige or one way or lost opportunities because they were involved in sexual activities that they shouldn't have been.
And innuendos, yes.
Well, it gets even worse than that. And so I found a little thing here to read to you.
Okay.
That it could be even worse than just losing your good name. Okay. Right. I get these things because I'm a good Methodist, so I get this information. 3 guys arrived at the pearly gates of heaven at around the same time. St. Peter asked the first man to explain how he had died. The first guy says, well, I came home from work early one day, and my wife was in the bedroom putting on her clothes, and I saw a cigar burning in the ashtray. I don't smoke cigars, so I looked out the window and I saw a guy running out of the building and frantically trying to hail a cab. I was so enraged I dragged my refrigerator from the kitchen and pushed it out the window so it would crush him. I guess the stress of that movement and the strain of lifting the refrigerator gave me a heart attack. St. Peter nods, he understands, and allows the man to enter heaven. Then he asks the second man how he died. The second guy says, I was late for an appointment for an afternoon meeting, and when I ran out of my apartment building, a refrigerator fell on me. And St. Peter says, I says, I understand, and he allowed the man to enter heaven. So then he asked the third man to explain how he had died. Well, it's a funny coincidence, he said. I was completely naked and hiding inside this refrigerator.
I love that.
So, it can cost you a lot more than just your good name.
Yeah.
Be careful, Jim.
All right. Control your hormones is the main.
That's the key.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So Dale, here's a tough question for you. What is success? How do you define, if you would, success?
Well, success is attempting to do something, having a goal, and then achieving the goal. Okay, so that would be success.
Okay.
So it would be so if you're talking about lifetime success, it would be pretty much achieving your life goals.
All right. So I looked up many definitions this week, and it talks about fame, fortune, and politics. Those 3 things are successes. So like a political leader, someone that's a billionaire, millionaire, and someone that is famous.
So Gandhi would be no money and no political power, but he became famous. You say his life was a success.
His life was a success. See, there was a line in the movie Gandhi, I don't know if you recall this, it cost us a fortune to keep Gandhi poor, because a lot of people financially helped Gandhi's movement.
Sure. To me, fame does not always equal success, and a lot of money does not always equal success. I guess how you earned your fame and how you earned your money and what you did with it once you had it.
So, does success equal influence?
It certainly does in our society. It certainly does. And because if Tom Hanks came to Jesup and said, I want to talk to the city council, I got a good idea for how we can make this town better, they would say, come on in, we'd be glad to listen to you. Even though he's not a city official, not a government official, as far as we know, never went to, I don't know if he went to college, but if you went to Des Moines and say, hi, I'd like to come in and talk to your city council about how to make this city better, they'd say, no, who are you? We don't have time. But if you were Tom Hanks that did that, they would. And so fame can give you influence.
So I would argue then,
Okay.
influential people. These influential people are here. They go.
Okay.
Obviously, Elon Musk and technology.
Yeah, and in other ways too, because he has the money to buy influence and power in any area that he wants to.
Neil and David Reimer. The Reimer brothers set the gold standard for venture capital. Some of the wealthiest people. They made a lot of people wealthy in their company, Index Ventures.
So you're saying they would have a lot of influence because of that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you'd have to agree.
Okay. Politically. He is probably right now the leader of the Democratic Party, Dale.
Yeah, just he has a voice that all of them would listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton didn't want that. Hillary would like that and doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Another one is Marissa Mayer. She's the CEO of Yahoo.
Okay, I don't know her. But,
Credited with breathing new life into the company. Probably the most powerful woman in the world.
oh, is that right?
Arguably.
Okay.
At just 39.
Yeah. Oh, only 39 years
Yeah.
old? Okay.
Yeah.
Does she have political ambitions? Or?
No, I don't think Elon has political ambitions anymore. Jimmy Wales is another one. You know what Jimmy Wales is famous for? He found Wikipedia.
Okay.
Wikipedia is the 5th most visited website in the world.
Okay.
Mario Testino. Do you know who that is? You and I wouldn't know this. He's a fashion man.
He probably designed my...
He famously photographed Diana, not to mention a host of glitterati, including supermodels, politicians, pop stars, and actors.
So he's famous because he took pictures.
Fashion.
With a key. Fashionable.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So those are the most influential people in the world. Influence is power.
Okay. So if they wanted something terribly bad, you think they could get it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we talked about 2 Hall of Famers in the pre-show today.
Yeah.
They are influential in our town. Mm-hmm. They could get, they could get it.
They could get things done.
Yeah. And they are careful not to step too far beyond their boundary because of that.
Yeah.
Because they know if they do, they're in. Mm-hmm. To their credit, and they're already in enough stuff. Dave was saying A's, not only Spawn Rose, but saying A's among other things.
No, in the public school, he's done a lot for the public school.
Oh yeah, and Alan Wright, and not only Farmers Day, but just the community of Jesup and the Jesup Public School.
Sure,
influential people there. So that is good. On the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. What do you have? Do you have anything neat for us? I see you got something with Jesup.
I have a regular, just a schedule of games for people.
What do you have?
And then,
what do you have for us?
A few things. The library's been closed, and I guess that they had the mold up in the ceiling.
Yes.
I guess that turned into be a huge project, that there was just tons and tons of stuff up there they had to tear out and replace because of the mold. Yeah. So, and I don't have a number on that, but I understand it's trying to be much more expensive than they originally thought. Once they got in there, and they got a company that specializes in finding mold. And Michael says, companies that know how to find mold, they find mold everywhere. And there was a lot. So they had to tear a lot of stuff out, and because they had the mold removed and it came right back. And so they had to dig deeper. And so they had to replace a lot of ceiling and even some roofing, I think, and put a fan up in there to keep the moisture at bay and this sort of thing. And so I'm not sure what the final bill will be, but they said it turned out to be much more than which happens a lot, I think, with mold and stuff like that.
Yes, I've heard of that before.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that the library is still on schedule to be open today on Monday. But I don't know for sure. If you might want to call ahead. I don't know. But I have not seen any notice. None of the library websites mentioned anything about being delayed even further. They're still looking to come in on Monday. So that means that exercise group could start at 8 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that sort of thing. The tech help, and I don't know if they're getting they've done a lot with people trying to get their emails changed, I guess. And so, but you can get some help there. It's nice if you call ahead to see how many people are in front of you, or if they have time at that time, and this sort of thing. So They have this crafternoon fun on Monday at 2 o'clock for the kids, and there's an elf workshop. And again, I wasn't able to get into the library to talk to people about these things, so I'm not sure exactly what this is. But that's Wednesday at 2 o'clock, so you have to.
I think they're doing that in the basement of the city hall, right?
I don't know. You have to register, I know.
Yeah.
But so you know more than I do then. Thursday 8 in the morning they have the fun and play time, and Thursday at 10:30 the story time, and so the library's going. Still in December, girls basketball on the 8th, Center Point Urbana comes to town, and on the 11th, Wapsie Valley, and on the 12th is Hudson. And I kind of like to see that game, but I already have 5 other things to do on the 12th.
I understand.
Yeah. And then the 16th, they travel to Sumner Fredericksburg. And then on the 19th, they go to Union. I guess Union comes to Jesup, okay. So that's the rest of the December games for the girls. For the boys, on the 11th, Wapsie Valley comes to town, and on the 12th is Hudson. And then the 16th, they go to Sumner Fredericksburg. There must be double headers. And on the 19th is Union comes to Jesup. And then the next games are the 6th of January. So they have a little break time there. The wrestling team is at Wapsie Valley on the 11th, and they're at Springville on the 13th. And they're at Grundy Center on the 18th, and they're at Dike New Hartford on the 20th. So they got a lot of away meets coming up. And so one after the other. So,
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So that's kind of the thing. We had a Farmers Day meeting, and our theme this year is going to be Red, White, and Hero.
Oh, cool.
It's military. It's 250 years, and finding a theme every year is very hard. And Dawn Quackenbush got her AI app out and typed in a bunch of stuff and came up with a list of nice ones, and this is the one we like the best. Okay. It's funny to me because she said thank you to the computer where they were all done, and said, and it typed back, says, yes, you're welcome. I hope you have a great celebration this next summer or whatever. Right. It's like having another person there at the meeting. And so because of the 250th anniversary, there'll be a lot of military kind of things, and there's a truck that opens up into this good-sized theater, and it's going to have I think that's a Vietnam exhibit. There's also another exhibit coming that'll be a lot of memorabilia from World War II, and I'm assuming weapons and clothing and that sort of thing. And so we're looking at those kind of things. We had wanted to get this wall that heals, Vietnam Wall, and they have like 5 criteria, and we had done everything right, but we had been too recent. I guess we had it 20 years ago or something, but there were many cities being 250 years anniversary wanting, and so we did not make the cut that way where they could fit us in with everything else that's going on. So that's not going to happen. Another thing, we have our big carnival back this year. It's truly a fantastic carnival for a town our size to have something like this, and these people go to a lot of big places. Insurance costs are just killing a lot of people, and this carnival is also feeling that pinch. And so it's going to cost us more to have them come because they're asking people to help pay for their insurance. And you can figure they have a lot of liability insurance with those rides the way they are, and also, I'm sure, personal property insurance and that kind of thing. So their insurance costs are just out of sight, and so we're having to readjust our budget to make this all work. And so there'll be more, coming up. But I think it's the earliest we ever had a Farmers Day meeting, just to try to get all this stuff straightened out and get it going. And then I can talk after a while about a Christmas story. It's time for talking about Christmas.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's a good tease. We've got time here before our break. We've got from 79 to 70 of Mason's top 100 songs. I talked to Mason, and I sent you. Mason sent a nice message. He really enjoys listening, and he enjoys you on the podcast.
No, well, it was very nice of him to say that.
Yeah,
too. And so,
yes, it is. Yes, it was.
Fellow music lover from the same era. So.
Yeah, here is
except for those black-eyed people, those crow people, or whatever he had last week. He had a lot of those.
Those long hairs. Here is Mason's 79 to 70. Number 79, Fire Lake by Bob Seger. I believe Fire Lake's on the same album as Night Moves. So.
Yeah. No, I like Bob Seger.
Yeah.
He sounds like just a regular guy that has a band that can play the guitar and write songs. He wasn't trained at Juilliard or anything like that. So
no, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Number 78, Journey, Loving, Touching, Squeezing. love and touch, and squeeze, and
I'm not allowed to listen.
together.
I'm not allowed to listen to those kind of songs.
Number 77, Survivor, The Eye of the Tiger.
Oh yeah, love
Eye
that.
of the Tiger.
Love that. Yeah.
Also, Mason said he likes you singing a lot better than he likes mine.
Oh well, I can understand that.
Yes,
but yeah,
yes, I do
those
too.
Rocky movies. What a phenomena for a guy like Sylvester Stallone to figure all that out and get that straightened up in his head and write out that first script for that first movie. It's really a wonderful story of a guy really very poor, how he changed his life with his own creativity
I know.
and his own determination not to let the big boys steal that from him, because they wanted his script and they didn't want him, and he said, no, it's not going to work that way.
Yeah.
And by being stubborn like that, he changed his whole life. And
He did.
So, yeah.
Number 76, Foreigner, Cold as Ice. You're as cold as ice.
Yep, I know that song. Yep.
Number 75, Foreigner, Jukebox Hero.
Okay. I don't think I know all the words to that
No,
one.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I know
okay.
Jukebox Hero. Number 74, Turn to Stone, the ELO, Electric Light Orchestra.
Okay.
Turn to Stone. That one doesn't come to mind.
Yeah, I had never heard of them, and I don't know if I was still at UNI or maybe go to grad school, but they did a show at the Unidome,
Yeah.
and just thousands. I mean, it was just amazing. And I didn't go, but I mean, just the crowd was huge. And I said, gee, I never heard of this band. But there's a lot of bands. They talk about bands now that are 25 years of being great musicians. I've never heard one song they ever played. So, but but they were really good.
Number 73, Autograph, Turn Up the Radio. Number 72, John Cougar Mellencamp, Crumbling Walls. Number 71, John Cougar, Hand to Hold On To. And number 70, John Cougar, Hurts So Good.
Yeah.
We are the Steve Brown Art Center, and we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor, the Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network. One of our sponsors tonight is Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. The Pharaohs are kind sponsors of this podcast. Include them at our wedding, or at your wedding, graduation, or festival plans.
Not at our wedding.
Freudian slip there, Dale.
That's right.
Don't wait. Their schedule's filling up for 2026. They are sponsoring a traveling art show for the Steve Brown Art Center. Thanks to them for including the traveling art show. Dale, you mentioned you had something dealing with Christmas there. What do you have?
Well, we should start talking about Christmas. And my favorite Christmas movie is A Christmas Story. And I like it because it's supposed to be in the 40s. Is the setting. And so I was born in the 40s, and so a lot of the things I see on there are very familiar to me because that's the way Christmas was when I was a little kid. And so I just love the story, and I love the school scenes, which I think are neat, and the little kid conniving to get some alone time so he can use his little Orphan Annie decoder and this sort of thing, and the bathroom problems, and the bar soap. That was still a common punishment when I was growing up, where your mother would, not me, but some of my friends had their mouth washed out with soap.
Yeah, I never had that.
I didn't either, but I love they talk about Lifebuoy soap. We had that Lifebuoy soap in it. It's one of those things. She said, when I grow up, I'm never having this soap in my house, and I don't. It's just the smell of it. And the worst. This is way off the subject, but in boot camp, everybody it's called a bucket. If you get a bucket and you go through the PX, and everybody gets exactly the same stuff. You need a razor, you need shaving cream and soap and this sort of thing. Well, everybody got a bar of Dial, soap.
Oh, yeah.
And so that night we took a shower. There's 70 or 80 of us taking a shower, and half take a shower while half shave, and then you switch. And so you have this Dial soap smell. And so I hated that smell so bad. So when we got married, I think Deb used Dial soap, and I said, no, so we have never had Dial soap in our house, because I said, that smell just brings back that terrible first night, how you're scared to death because you have no idea what's going on or what's going to happen to you. And that smell brings that all back to me. And so I don't use Dial soap. Anyway, so I love this movie, and how you can look up things about this movie.
Yeah.
I remember wanting a BB gun so badly. I did get a BB gun for Christmas one year, a Red Ryder with the leather on the little thing. It was the same thing. And I ran into this guy that I grew up with, and honestly, I don't think I talked to him for 60 years. And so we're at the same place, and we're talking. And he said he remembers coming to my house, and he had his BB gun with him. And he and I were going to go shoot sparrows, which was a common thing you did back then. And I was not able to go right away, so he was in the living room of our house, and we lived in this old house, and we rented it. So he said he's sitting there with his BB gun, and he's messing with it, and all at once it goes off. We had a light bulb in the middle of the ceiling, and it had, that little, I know what you call it, around it, so to hide the light bulb. There would be the lamp part.
Yeah.
And put a little hole in that lamp. And my mother was there, and she said the landlord had just put that in brand new a couple days ago, and they said my mother got up there and took it down and turned it and put it back so the hole was towards the back, and she says nobody will ever see that.
Bless your
so
mother's
he
heart.
remembered that about my mother, and I said I had forgotten all about that story, but he remembered that about my mother, which I thought, well, that was a neat mom to do that for a kid, instead of getting all messed up with it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That was cool.
A Christmas Story is really the life story of a man named Gene Shepard. He is the guy who narrates the film. He's the adult who narrates it.
Okay.
And he wrote several things. He had a radio show, and he would tell stories, and mainly they were about his life as a kid or the life of his friends. And that's how he made his living, and he would write books and articles. And one of them was, the second part was all other, in God we trust, all others pay cash. And I remember reading that as a I don't know when, but then when I first saw this movie, I recognized that, hey, that's that story. Okay. So they made the movie for $3.3 million, and it grossed $20 million in the theaters, though MGM did nothing for it. They didn't advertise it. They didn't show it in December. They took it out of theaters before December came around, just buried it, and it never got much acclaim until Ted Turner started his network.
Yeah.
And he would show it 24 hours a day.
The TNT.
Yeah, on TNT.
Yeah.
And so then the other cable channels, of course, picked it up, and that's when it really took off, where it became a classic movie.
Right.
And so, but it did make $20 million, which is not too bad.
For that time period, no kidding.
Yeah. So the house is still there, and it's now a tourist attraction. Someone bought it and fixed it all up, and
That was a big house.
yeah. But I think it's more like there were two families that could live in that house, is what they said. I did not realize that. Two families could live in that house.
Okay.
And you can go there, and Ralphie, the little kid, was Peter Billingsley, he still owns the bunny suit and the BB gun.
Oh, cool.
And every now and then, he brings them out and at different places where they're doing a show of some kind and let them go on display. But he still has those. And they said that he did not think to do this, but his mother did. His mother was on set, and so when the movie was finished, she made sure she got those things for him. And even though without talking to him about it.
How cool that is.
Yeah. They wanted Jack Nicholson to play the dad, the old man, and he wanted it, but the producer, and I think it's Gene Shepard, they looked and said, no, we need just an average, harried, ordinary father kind of guy. We don't want everybody watching this movie for 2 hours wondering when Jack Nicholson was going to blow his top or whatever. Right. And so they would not let him be on there. The leg lamp, they custom made that. There was a leg that he remembered from some commercial or whatever, and so they built this lamp from scratch. The fiberglass and put the stocking on and this sort of thing. And they built several of them because they kept breaking. And when the mom accidentally breaks the lamp in the front window, that was an actual lamp crashing to the floor. And all the others that they had for different scenes, or where they were filming, all of them broke one way or the other.
Oh, wow.
So there was not any of them remaining when the movie was over. And so when they redo these things, they have to make them. Of course, they're made out of plastic, and they've become quite a thing. You see them in stores that sell Christmas stuff,
right?
And even like a Cracker Barrel gift shop, whatever, stores like that will have them. But all those lamps were special made. Remember the scene where the kid tests whether the tongue will stick to the flagpole, and they say kids, they still get calls every year, fire departments and this sort of thing, of kids doing that sort of thing. Well, the way they did that is they drilled a little hole, flagpole, and they had a vacuum cleaner under the snow. I would say a vacuum. I'm assuming a vacuum cleaner, but it was able to suck. And so when the kid put his tongue up on there. There was a tiny hole there. He put his tongue against the hole, and the vacuum then pulled against that tongue so that it could stay there. It could stay there for the kid. And so that's how they did it. Which I thought was pretty neat that somebody came up with that, you know. So Peter Billingsley was the first kid that they auditioned for that role, wearing the big glasses of being the kid. And then they auditioned 8,000 other kids for that role before they came back to him and said, yeah, he's the one we want, even though they knew that at the very beginning, but they ended up auditioning 8,000 kids for that role, even though he was the first one. And I remember lamp shopping with my wife once. We went to a huge furniture store.
Right.
Went in the front door. There's a lamp sitting there. I said, I really like that one. And well, she did too. But then we looked for 2 more hours and came back and bought that lamp. And we still have it in our house. And so the soap, the Lifebuoy soap in his mouth was not real. It was made out of wax. So it did not have that Lifebuoy flavor, so it was not real. And I thought this was most interesting about how they make movies, but they filmed a scene where he's in school and he's reading a Flash Gordon. Remember Flash Gordon story? Out in outer space, you know. They were reading he was reading a Flash Gordon comic book, and so then he's daydreaming. So they built this huge elaborate set where he's up there in a spacesuit with his BB gun saving Flash Gordon's life, and they got all this outer space scenery and this sort of thing. It was the most expensive scene that they filmed. And then they cut it out of the movie. They never showed it. And I think this probably happens to a lot of movies. The department store where they go to see, they had a hard time finding a store that would let them film because that was a busy time, I guess. And so this store is in Cleveland. It's not in Indiana at all. It's in Cleveland. And they had to film at night. And that big parade scene with the Santa Claus and all that stuff, that was at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my.
So, because the store they said there could be no swearing filming in our store and nothing that would make us look bad or anything like that. They had a lot of rules and regulations they had to go by. And there were a lot of local people that were extras in those scenes where they were in the store, which I thought, you know, a lot of times the backstories and how these movies are made are really very interesting.
They are.
And the last thing is Peter Billingsley became, working in movies, he was the producer of Elf and many other big-time shows. He was really big and still is in movie making and has actually acted in a few. And then the kid who played the bully became like a financier. He got into money making and that sort of thing and did really, really very well. And so he did some acting after that, but mainly he got into business, more the business end of things, and has done quite well that way. And so they didn't say what the little brother ended up doing, so I'm not sure. But I really liked the dad, and he was in many things, and I always thought he was very good, a good actor, character actor. And now I'm trying to, his name won't pop into my head now, but Dare McGavin, very good, and
Dale, obviously that movie has had a large influence on you. What is your most memorable Christmas, either as a child or as an adult?
Yeah, well, as a child, I don't know if people can understand, but cowboys were a big thing. You know, they were like 25, 30 shows on TV with cowboys. And so we always were having fast gun contests as kids. Yeah. And there was a year where I really, really wanted a set of holsters with the pistols in them and everything. And I got those. And I was just out of this world happy with that present. And then running around. And they had the plastic grips in the handle.
Yeah.
All of those were broken by the end of that first day.
There you go.
All of them were broken. And I always tell people that the Christmas, as an adult, I remember there's a lot of them, with my family and everything, but Christmas in Vietnam, and there's these thing called pop flares. When you're coming in on a night patrol and they have different colored flares, and you say, okay, you call in and you say, we're coming in through the wire, don't shoot us, and we're going to pop green or something. And so then you could just hit it against your helmet and a little flare would go up, and that's the right color, and then they would know it was you and not somebody else. The word went out, we're not supposed to do anything with those pop flares outside of what they're originally meant for, but Christmas Eve, and what's also happened on New Year's, and also on the Marine Corps birthday, in November, December, January, a lot of people had a lot of those flares, and they filled the sky with color, and so it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Because you had no color, just black as hell every night.
Right.
But all at once, on those 3 days, we had a lot of color from those hot flares.
Cool.
And so I always remember that as other than that, Christmas wasn't much, but that was kind of neat. So
neat. My most memorable Christmas. My dad had three good friends: Willie Alden, Lloyd Fensky, and Wayne Rice. Wayne Rice was a truck driver, and every Christmas Eve, Dad would take me down to Wayne's. And Santa would miraculously come to our house when we were down in Wayne's. I always missed Santa.
Yeah.
But one Christmas Eve, we went down to Wayne's to see Wayne, and Wayne wasn't there. And so we went home, and we got in the house, and behind us, Santa came in the house. And it was Santa, and Santa was a red face. He had that cheek face, and Santa had two bags, and the bags were so heavy he was staggering around.
Yeah.
And it was Santa bringing presents. That was the most memorable Christmas I ever had. An incredible Christmas night, and I don't even remember what I got that night, but I remember Santa following us into the house.
No, it's so much fun with kids, and I remember my three kids were all small, and one Christmas Eve after they were in bed, we did all the presents out and everything. And then Deb put some flour in a pan and took a small boot, and dipped it in the flour, the soil, and then did little Santa Claus footprints around the living room. And the kids were really fascinated by that when they saw how Santa had been walking in the house and everything. So with the snow footprints that didn't melt, but it was just to see the look on little kids' faces at Christmas is very. It
is.
You'll never have that kind of thing again in your life after they grow up.
Right.
It's just not the same. So.
Right.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That was a good memory.
This is the Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network. You were talking about ELO and their concerts. When I was in college, Luther used to have huge concerts at Luther.
Yeah.
And somehow I met this wonderful lady from Luther, and she had tickets to go to the concert that year. And I would have walked through gallons of pig manure for that lady. She was so wonderful.
Yeah.
Teresa Kurt was her name. She was from Tripola, a nurse up in Alaska now. But Teresa had tickets to a band. It was a punk rock band called Oingo Boingo.
Okay.
Well, and I had neither.
Yeah. Okay.
But Teresa was going, so I was going with her.
Sure.
And I can remember going into the Luther Field House and the slam dancing going on. We walked through the slam dancing, and thank God Teresa didn't want to slam dance. We walked through that, walked right up to the stage, and Teresa was so pretty. The security let us right up front. It was amazing, I have no idea why she was hanging out with me, Dale, but I was lucky to go to the front. At least I thought I was lucky.
Sure.
And Oingo Boingo had one hit I listened to after that. But they had 17 guys in the band, including the horn section. And all that horn section was incredible. Mm-hmm. And, I can still see that horn section of that band. But that was the first concert. I guess Mom had taken me to Charlie Pride at the Cattle Congress 2 or 3 years in a row. She enjoyed Charlie Pride, and so we would, she drugged me along because she wouldn't leave me at home by myself. Yeah. But that was the first concert I went to. The last concert I went to was with John Prine, and John, I missed it. I went with Jasmine Banks. Jasmine has been on the show before, and the Mary Kindlevu, if you recall. Yeah. And we got there, and we went out to eat, and all of a sudden on the radios we were driving, don't forget the John Prine concert as cancer because they had found cancer. He had cancer, so we couldn't go. He came back the next year and the tickets were just as good. So I saw John Prine in concert. John Prine was one of the first famous guys to die during COVID.
Okay.
But wonderful music. John Prine was a musical poet. Tom Snyder died here recently. He was an advocate for John Prine.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be right back. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Don't forget our sponsor, who's been with us since our start, Derek's Repair, located in Jesup, Iowa. Contact Derek Marty for your car repair needs. Also, check out the podcast, What Is Up, with our friend Bubba Seaman. Bubba is doing a great job, and if you enjoy this podcast, you'd enjoy Bubba's podcast as well. So, good wholesome podcast. I talked about in our last podcast, Dale, the book A Manifesto for a Moral Revolution by Jacqueline Novogratz. She's about our age. She's about my age, a little younger than you are. Born in the 60s. But I wanted to talk about that book here. In an age where profit margins are worshipped like false gods and success is measured in hollow trophies, Novogratz dares to whisper in a different gospel that it's a true revolution is moral, not material. Her manifesto for a moral revolution is a hymn for those who refuse to bow to cynicism, a guidebook for the wanderers who see the cracks in the system and choose to plant wildflowers there instead of despair. Novogratz, founder of Acumen and a second social entrepreneur, details 12 practices for building a better world. And that's what I love about it. She talks about being an ocean in a drop of water, Dale. And I love that line. Okay. Be an ocean in a drop of water. Principles that shimmer with both pragmatism and poetry. She speaks of redefining success beyond profit, of cultivating empathy as a radical act, of embracing collaboration across divides. These are not sterile management lessons. They are invitations to live with courage, to accompany communities rather than exploit them, to imagine futures where dignity is the currency. You know, Dale, we talked about early on in the show what success is, about money and political power and fame. Well, I'm convinced, Dale, and she talks about this in her book, rather than take more than you give. Most people take more than they give. To give more than you take. Instead of 60-40, take more than you give. Give 60, take 40. Mm-hmm. And that's a challenge for our society. Her stories are drawn from change makers across the globe and are mosaics of resilience. We meet those who stand against poverty, corruption, and climate catastrophe, not with weapons, but with vision and stubborn hope. In her hands, these virtues are not abstractions, but tools sharper than any blade, capable of cutting through apathy and inertia. The bohemian spirit in this book is unmistakable. It is the spirit of the cafe philosopher, the street artist, the barefoot activist who knows that revolutions begin not in boardrooms but in conversations, in communities, in the refusal to accept injustice as inevitable. Novogratz's manifesto is a call to live authentically, to risk failure, to embrace paradox, to be both dreamer and doer, poet and pragmatist. What makes this book glow is the refusal to separate the personal from the political. Novogratz reminds us that most of us want our lives to count for something, to leave behind more than consumption and dust. Her practices are not commandments carved in stone, but living principles, flexible enough to guide a lifetime of improvisation. Reading Manifesto for Moral Revolution feels like joining a caravan of seekers. It's a book for the wanderer who sketches manifestos on napkins, for a community builder who believes in the magic of accompaniment. For the rebel who insists that morality is not a relic, but a revolution wanting to be lived. Navigrat's vision is both radical and simple. To build a world where success is measured in human flourishing, where leadership is defined by integrity, and where revolution is moral before it is political. For the Bohemian heart, this is not just a manifesto, it is a mirror, reflecting back the possibility that our lives, lived with courage and compassion, can indeed change the world. It is a challenge to give more than you ask for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about this book, Dale. It's called Manifesto for a Moral Revolution. One of the things it talks about, and I'm scheduled to speak with a group in the library here, and I'm going to present them sort of a talk walk where they meet a student from the school and walk with that student.
Okay.
And for 15 minutes, that student tells their story, and then 5 minutes, the lady asks questions about that student. Then the next 20 minutes, the lady tells the students their story. And then the last 5 minutes, the student asks questions.
Okay.
And it's called a story walk, and that's from the Manifesto for Moral Revolution by Navigrat. And I really think we can change the world with something like that, Dale.
So just more understanding of the other person's life and
Yes.
how they got to where they're at.
Yeah. And plus it's a mixture generation. But that's called, and you got to find it, the Manifesto for a Moral Revolution. So this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. But I really like her definition. Her definition of success is to give more than you take.
Yeah. Read a biography of Morris K. Jesup that Jesup was named after.
Yes,
and
yes.
He spent his life in thirds, but getting ready to earn was the first third, and then earning a lot of money the second third, and the last third of his life was spent giving away money. And it was said that even when he was making like $10 a week or whatever, he still found ways to give some of that to other people or to other causes.
Yes, sir.
And so his was a life of giving to others. And it all seems so simple, doesn't it?
It does.
It's real just to put yourself in the other guy's footsteps and help out where you can help out, because some people can help out more than others, but some people don't help at all. They seem like they just go the other way. So
we were talking about this before the show, Dale. It went on, and as Blake was getting prepared for the show, the reason for the Steve Brown Arts Center, when we first set up the Arts Center, the early board members and myself, we talked more about money, and there was one board member, Kara Masteller. She's Kara Abed now. They live out in Los Angeles. Her and her husband Mahmoud. But Kara kept going back to, didn't go back to how much money we have. It's how many people did we serve. I mean, like the first, you were our first event. And your conversation with the history of Jesup at the library. And the first question Kara asked me, was how many people were there? Mm-hmm. And I love that. The question should be for the Arts Center, not how much money we have, but how many people are we serving?
yeah. I know our big question before was, how many people do you think would?
Yes.
Well, if I said, Jim, if you come, there'll be two.
There you go.
No, it was very nice, you just have to try. You try to serve people, and hopefully they will come and hear your message. And that's I agree with what she's saying to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people are you able to serve?
Yeah.
And
exactly right. This Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Dale, we've got a special event coming up the 17th of this month. Mm-hmm. We are doing our 30th anniversary show, the 156th show.
Yep.
And we're doing it special from Joe's Pizza in Jesup, Iowa. In Jesup, about four stores down
yeah.
here.
Yeah, not very far.
No. Joe was rather excited about it. Joe had, for a long time, Joe didn't have like eat in. He's got an eat in place now.
Yeah.
He's got the golfing machines in there. We are going to have 3 artists that night. We're going to have Piper Zelli, a local high school artist. We're going to have John Decker from Independence, Iowa, and we're going to have Billy Joe Shell Oldakowski from around Denver.
Okay.
And then we are going to have music from Tim Kimmer.
Okay, yeah. And you'll enjoy. Come and listen to him. He's very good. He's got some fun songs. I enjoy very much.
And one of the cool things is Joe is giving a piece of pizza to the first 100 people that come through the door.
Now, do we have a time limit? They have to stay at least 10 minutes or anything like that? Or?
Well, it is. I said, Joe, that's quite a bit of pizza, and he said, well, that people will buy. They have one piece, they'll want more.
Yeah.
So they'll buy other pizzas.
Yeah.
So and that's what we want.
It's good. I know. I have friends, and their son lives in London, and he was home for a couple days on business in the States, and he came to stay with his parents a couple days. And the one thing he wanted was a Joe's Pizza, and so I have kids all over the country, and when they're back here, they like Joe's Pizza.
Yeah, I love it. So that's the 17th. Come and see us between 5 and 7 o'clock. Get a free slice of pizza from Joe.
Yep.
Listen to Tim Kimmer and see those fine artists.
We won't have to talk very much, will we?
We won't.
No.
We won't.
So that's a plus too. There, we'll get a big crowd.
They will. They'll be happy. They will be happy.
Okay.
Some other events. We're showing Billy Joe Shell Oldakowski's art right now at M's Coffee in Independence. She'll have her art there until the end of December. The majority of it is Christmas art. Don't forget, we have the 24-hour Mustang camera sponsored by Joe's Pizza in Independence. A neat thing that we have, and I watch regularly. There's always 3 or 4 people on there when I watch it. I mean, I'm not talking to drivers, but other people watching
on
it.
the computer. Okay.
Yeah, other people watching it. We are winding down for the year, and I'm working to meet. I have 6 artists. I need to meet 6 more artists to arrange for M's Coffee, so that we can exhibit them in M's Coffee. I already have 6 artists for the year in there. If you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have a news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message or mention something to Dale or Blake, and they will see that it gets on the air. We are so lucky to work together. I really enjoy working with Blake and Dale. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Our thanks as always to Kelly C. Haas and Heartland Business and Events Center for hosting us and sponsoring us. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your life. Make sure that you support our sponsors, M's Coffee and Gedney's Coffee, the
Joe's Pizza.
Joe's Pizza, Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster, Derek Marty's Car Repair. Support artists. Go out and listen to live music, please. Remember, each day is about little victories.